There were various explanations for volcano behavior before the structure of the Earth mantle as a semi-solid material was developed for decades. Awareness that compression and radioactive materials may be heat sources was discounted, and volcanic action was often attributed to chemical reactions and a thin layer of molten rock near the surface.
According to a peer-reviewed study, medical cannabis led to statistically significant improvement in quality of life, employment, status, and in the reduction of the number of medications in those with Tourette's syndrome, in addition to improving comorbidities.
A new breed of rice that is a hybrid of an annual Asian rice and a perennial African rice could be a more sustainable option. The hybrid rice was able to produce grain for 8 consecutive harvests over 4 years at a yield comparable to the standard annual Asian rice, with much lower costs and labor.
USA sexually teased its troops in the First World War to make them fight harder, believing that sexually satisfied men could not be easily motivated. The aim of this teasing was to generate unmet sexual desire, which the War Department could leverage as motivation to fight.
Most babies start developing their hearing while still in the womb, prompting some helpful parents to play classical music to their pregnant bellies. Some research even suggests that infants are listening to adult speech as early as 10 weeks before birth, gathering the basic building blocks of their family's native tongue.
People in their 20s and 30s who drink moderate to heavy amounts of alcohol may be more likely to have a stroke as young adults than people who drink low amounts or no alcohol, according to a study. The risk of stroke increased the more years people reported moderate or heavy drinking.
The Texas law prohibiting abortion after detectable embryonic cardiac activity was associated with a decrease in in-state abortions and an increase in residents obtaining out-of-state abortions. The proportion of out-of-state abortions obtained at 12 weeks increased significantly from 17.1 to 31.
Belief that the COVID-19 pandemic was a hoax, that its severity was exaggerated, or that the virus was deliberately released for sinister reasons, functions as a gateway to believing in conspiracy theories generally. In study, pandemic skeptics were more likely to believe in 2020 election fraud.
Vitamin D deficiency linked to premature death. Over a 14-year follow-up period, researchers found that the risk for death significantly decreased with increased vitamin D concentrations, with the strongest effects seen among those with severe deficiencies.
Air pollution reduced when U.S. embassies around the world installed monitors and tweeted the readings. The resulting reductions in air pollution levels had large health benefits for residents in these cities, speaking to the potential efficacy of other monitoring and information interventions.
A study of nearly 2,000 children found that those who reported playing video games for 3 hours per day or more performed better cognitive skills tests involving impulse control and working memory compared to children who had never played video.
Until now, Mars has been generally considered a geologically dead planet. An international team of researchers led by Zurich now reports that seismic signals indicate volcanism still plays an active role in shaping the Martian surface.
Before heart disease diagnosis is made, your healthcare provider will gather a full medical history and perform a physical exam. If your doctor suspects heart disease, blood tests will be ordered to check your cholesterol and triglyceride levels, as well as look for proteins that could signal heart failure or plaque in your arteries.
Movies are an integral part of us. They mirror what we believe and how we coexist as people. It is easier to see our concerns, attitudes, flaws and strengths in films than it is to decipher them from our daily interactions. When our prevalent beliefs and ideologies are challenged in films, we are sometimes able to interrogate ourselves and embrace change.
One of the great contributing factors to mental illness is the idea that we should at all costs and at all times be well. We suffer far more than we should because of how long it can take many of us until we allow ourselves to fall properly and usefully ill.
Surgeons in New York City successfully attached a pig kidney to a human patient and watched the pinkish organ function normally for 54 hours. Such procedures have been done in non-human primates. However, this is the first time that a pig kidney has been transplanted to a human body and not been immediately rejected.
As climate change brings more wildfires to the western United States, a rare fungal infection, valley fever, has also been on the rise. It causes coughs, fevers, and chest pain, and can be deadly. The culprit fungi thrive in soils in California and the desert southwest. Wildfires appear to stir up and send the soil-loving fungi into the air, where they can enter people's lungs. Based on the results from this study, we hypothesized that a high-protein diet coupled with low carbohydrate intake would be beneficial for prevention of bone loss in adults.
The classic era of Mayan came to an end around 900 AD. Why this happened is unclear. The cities were probably over-farming the land, so that a period of drought led to famine. Recent geological research supports this, as there appears to have been a 200-year drought around this time.
Symptoms of depression decrease with improvements in sense of smell, particularly among patients with dysosmia. New research published in the journal Scientific Reports highlights the intricate relationship between depression and sense of smell. The study found that participants' symptoms of depression dropped as their odor identification improved, particularly among those with an impaired sense of smell.
And a writer must decide upon an order and a structure for a book in keeping with the reflexive nature of the work. There are strong currents of reiteration in the book, with each iteration developing understandings of research, theory, and practice as the story continues to unfold.
Our major conclusion is that the current measure needs to be revised. It no longer provides an accurate picture of the differences in the extent of economic poverty among population groups or geographic areas of the country, nor an accurate picture of trends over time.
An industry or workplace often has its own terms for certain items, places, or groups of people, and a university is no different. Here we have attempted to explain some of the terms you may come across on our websites that are specific to higher education.
The noise restrictions are based on measurements on animals in captivity exposed to noise levels that induce a temporary threshold shift to tinnitus in hearing. The tinnitus onset threshold is the lowest noise exposure capable of inducing a small temporary reduction of hearing sensitivity, also known as auditory fatigue, with full recovery shortly after exposure.
Our information office on campus provided resource and support to help you make the right choices about child care, whether you're a student, staff, or member of the local community. The office provides information about the 5 centers closest to our campuses, relevant government agency, and other daycare centers in the surrounding areas.
We understand that not everyone can put their job and other responsibilities on hold to study. That's why our healthcare ethics and law master's courses are available to study by distance learning, so you can fit gaining an academic qualification on law, work, and family.
Neither golden eagles nor bald eagles are endangered species. The bald eagle population has more than quadrupled since 2009, from around 72,000 to 317,000 birds. But the golden eagle population is still relatively small, around 30,000 birds, and at risk of declining.
written by 10 eminent professors. It had been updated to reflect the shifts of sociological thought in the last 5 years, making it the most comprehensive, authoritative, and contemporary dictionary available. It was essential reading for all students and teachers of sociologies and other related courses, and also for the general reader.
Since our graduate admission school is not centralized, each of the university's 6 schools and colleges admits students to its own programs. For information about specific program degrees, graduate applications, graduate admission requirements and procedures, graduate scholarships, and the status of your application, visit the individual school websites.
Our central aim is to enable you to develop knowledge and attitudes and skills that are conducive to constructive involvement, cooperation, teamwork with others, and will serve you well in future endeavors. To succeed, the process demands all of us a serious exercise in civic responsibility.
Regular exercise releases brain chemicals key for memory, concentration, and mental sharpness at the same time as lifting your mood and lowering stress and anxiety, all of which contribute to brain health. Studies show that regular exercise helps you manage complex tasks, organize and razor-sharpen your focus, which is great for those long revision sessions or particularly complex exam questions.
In medicine, the application of information technology means the digitalization of medical records and the establishment of an intelligent network for sharing those records. Other benefits flow from these technological changes. In the past, medicine has taken a paternalistic stance, with the all-knowing physician dispensing wisdom, but that is becoming increasingly untenable.
The information session is a 45-minute presentation conducted by an admission representative. Immediately following the session is a 90-minute walking tour of the campus led by a student ambassador. Walking tours of the campus generally include classroom buildings, a residence hall room, a dining hall, the library, athletic facilities, performing art facilities, and the student union.
Along with all that they have in common, infants also show unique individual traits. Some are more active than others. Some are more sociable, and some are more interested in the world around them. Infants earlier on show consistent differences in friendliness and anxiety level, which form part of their early character.
The findings of modern research support the view that the evolution of primitive men and their culture should be regarded as unity. Yet this unity is exceedingly complex, and future research will doubtless enable us to make finer distinctions between the periods that people composed it. Scientists suggest that there are a number of reasons that our bodies treat scent differently than other senses. From hunting and gathering food to finding healthy mates, linking smells with memories that stir up desire, happiness, or even fear is biologically useful for humans. Humans have one other thing to consider when scent is at play. Context is key.
When you take a deep whiff of your morning coffee, the smell of those fresh roasted beans darts into parts of the brain responsible for emotional and memory processing, but our other senses don't work in the same way. That's why smell can trigger a happy memory more quickly than touching the hot coffee mug or tasting that first sip.
The most significant difference between traditional Chinese architecture and traditional Western architecture is the construction material. Most ancient Western buildings were built up with stones, solemn and magnificent. Most importantly, they survive today. Ancient Chinese people were very good at using wood and created the complex mortise and tenon joint structure to bring in the unique aesthetics for ancient Chinese wooden architecture.
Our genes serve as an operating manual for cells of the body. Genes tell cells what to do and when. But copying errors in those operating manuals, known as mutations, can lead to misspelled instructions that can change how cells operate. Scientists now know that some of those mutations can lead to disease.
About 66 million years ago, a massive asteroid slammed into the Gulf of Mexico. Not long afterward, all non-bird dinosaurs died, as did many other species on land and in the sea. Scientists don't know the exact year this took place, but they now think they have figured out in what season it occurred: spring.
Particles can act like clumps of matter or ripple through space like waves, and they can even exist in two places at once. A new device harnesses this strange quantum behavior to measure Earth's gravity. Slight changes in gravity from place to place reveal changes in the density of material beneath the sensor. This allows the instrument to detect underground objects.
Sometimes, natural processes can help preserve materials. For example, sediments from floods or volcanic eruptions can encase materials and preserve them. In one case, the chill of an alpine glacier preserved the body of a man for more than 5,000 years.
A joint venture is a business arrangement in which two or more parties agree to pool their resources for the purpose of accomplishing a specific task. This task can be a new project or any other business activity. In a joint venture, each of the participants is responsible for profits, losses, and costs associated with it.
The process of researching and securing a dig site can take years. Digging is the field work of archaeology. On occasion, archaeologists might need to move with bulldozers and backhoes. Usually, however, archaeologists use tools such as brushes, hand shovels, and even toothbrushes to scrape away the earth around artifacts.
The COVID-19 pandemic created an enormous level of stress on a global scale, leading to elevated levels of anxiety, depression, and other mental illnesses. Along with this was a disruption and challenges in the delivery of mental health services that were traditionally provided in the office.
The requirements to be a NASA astronaut have changed over the years to better align with the agency's mission and values. A potential candidate must be a US citizen. They also have to have a master's degree from an accredited institution. Acceptable degrees include engineering, biological science, or mathematics.
Oxygen can be found in many of the minerals in the ground around us, and the moon is mostly made of the same rocks you'll find on Earth. Minerals such as silica and magnesium oxides dominate the moon's landscape. All of these minerals contain oxygen, but not in a form our lungs can access.
A well-crafted content marketing strategy places your business in the position of a thought leader, building brand preference as you inform and educate buyers. Providing helpful and entertaining content can form a strong bond between your brand and customers that continues to grow and strengthen over time.
Fences are not just designed to keep people, animals out, but also keep things in, like children. From a safety perspective, knowing your children are in a yard that is fence offers solid peace of mind when it comes to their well-being. Fences are also great for keeping pets in a confined, controlled area.
Frogs live almost everywhere, from tropical forests to frozen tundra and scorching deserts. They sport an amazing range of survival strategies. Many frogs are more colorful than the most dazzling birds, and their voices have filled the night with song since the dawn of the dinosaurs. But the chorus is fading. As humans change natural environments, frogs around the world are disappearing.